We're diving into layer one blockchains today.
Okay.
And you've sent in some really interesting stuff,
Yeah.
articles, research, all about this. And looks like you want to go a little deeper than just like Bitcoin and Ethereum.
It's a big world out there.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of innovation happening, a lot of competition.
So maybe just as like a starting point,
Sure.
can you remind everybody, like, what is a layer one blockchain?
Yeah.
We talk about layer two solutions all the time, but like, what is that base layer?
So think of it as like the foundation of a house, right?
Yeah.
It's the base protocol
Okay.
that handles all the really core functions of the blockchain.
Okay.
So transaction validation,
Mm.
maintaining the distributed ledger, ensuring security, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so that's like the base layer, and then layer two is built on top of that
Exactly.
to kind of like make things faster.
Yeah, improve the speed, reduce the cost.
Okay, cool. All right.
But it all relies on that layer one to function.
So let's talk about some of these layer one blockchains.
Yeah.
I feel like we got to start with Bitcoin, right? It's like
The
OG. It's still the biggest by market cap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Over $850 billion.
It's crazy.
Yeah, still dominating the space.
And it's all about that like security decentralization.
Yeah, it's like the gold standard, right? Digital gold.
Yeah, but it's like super slow, right?
Yeah.
But I've heard it can only handle something like 7 transactions per second,
That's true.
which is like, what, Visa can do like 24,000 or something crazy?
Yeah, I mean, that's the trade-off, right? For that security and that decentralization,
Interesting.
you sacrifice some speed.
Okay, so that's like by design.
Yeah, it's meant to be a store of value like digital gold,
Not your everyday.
not for buying coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
More like a hedge against inflation, that kind of thing.
Cool. So let's move on to Ethereum.
Okay.
This is the one that kind of everyone knows for smart contracts.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. And that's kind of opened up all this like
This whole world of possibilities.
DeFi and NFTs and all that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, Ethereum brought programmability to the blockchain. So now you can do all these things we couldn't do before.
But it struggled, right, with
Yeah.
scalability. Like I remember those crazy gas fees from like back in 2021.
Yeah, that was a tough
I
time.
people $100 to do anything?
Ethereum's gotten really popular.
Yeah.
So that's caused some congestion, high fees.
Right.
But that's why we have these layer 2 solutions, right? Like Arbitrum, Optimism.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone's waiting for Ethereum 2.0.
Which is supposed to fix it all. Right.
Well, that's the hope.
Fingers crossed. Okay. So it's kind of like those challenges breed innovation in a way, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So speaking of innovation, how about Solana?
Okay.
This is the one that's like super fast, right?
Solana's all about speed, yeah.
Like insane transaction speeds.
65,000 transactions per second.
That's mind-blowing. Like
It's
how...
pretty impressive.
Yeah. And that's why it's like good for gaming and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, anything that needs high throughput.
But there's got to be trade-offs, right? Nothing's perfect.
Of course, yeah.
What are some of the downsides?
So Solana has faced some scrutiny
Okay.
about its level of decentralization.
Okay.
Some people argue that it gives too much control
Okay.
to a small number of validators,
Got it.
which could make it more vulnerable.
Makes sense.
There have also been some concerns about network outages.
Okay, so like pursuing that speed might come at the expense of other things.
Exactly.
Okay, all right, let's talk about Binance Smart Chain, or BSC.
Great.
I know this one has become super popular,
Yeah.
especially for like new projects.
Uh-huh.
What is it about BSC that's so appealing?
Well, I think the main thing is it's known for low fees
Okay.
and fast transactions.
Okay.
So that's made it really attractive.
Especially when Ethereum's so expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially for developers, starting new projects and users who don't want to pay those high gas prices.
But there's also been questions about like how decentralized it really is, right?
That's right, yeah.
Like Binance kind of has a lot of control over it, right?
Yeah, Binance, the exchange, they do have a lot of influence over the network.
Okay.
So that raises some concerns about, censorship, control, those kinds of things.
It's like that trade-off again.
Yeah, it's a trade-off.
State, cost,
It's-
decentralization.
Users need to kind of decide what's most important to them.
Okay, all right. Last but not least, we got to talk about Cardano.
Okay?
They seem to be taking like a very different approach, right? Like a more
Yeah, Cardano's a little bit different.
measured, kind of research-driven.
They're all about peer-reviewed research,
Okay.
rigorous development process.
Okay.
Really taking their time,
Yeah.
building things right.
Like slow and steady.
Exactly.
Long-term.
Long-term vision.
And they're doing that cool Hydra upgrade, right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's all
Yeah.
about scalability. Yeah.
Yeah, Hydra is supposed to really boost their throughput,
Okay.
allow for parallel transaction processing.
That's cool.
It's a pretty exciting development.
Okay, so we've kind of met the main players.
Yeah.
Each has their own thing, their own strengths,
Yeah.
weaknesses, focus.
Mm-hmm.
But why should anyone care? Right? Like beyond just like the crypto world.
That's the big question.
What's the bigger picture? Why does this matter?
Well, I think you got to remember that these layer 1 blockchains,
Yeah.
they're not just about cryptocurrencies.
Okay.
They're really the foundation
Okay.
of a new way of thinking about trust
Okay.
and value exchange.
So it's like bigger than just finance.
It has the potential to disrupt
Okay.
way more than just the financial system.
Like how we think about.
Yeah, like how we think about security,
Yeah.
transparency, control.
I'm starting to get it.
It's a different way of doing things.
But I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah, we've just laid the groundwork.
So much more to explore.
Oh, well, I think the next step is to really dive into these consensus mechanisms.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's where things get really interesting.
This is like the heart of how this all works.
Yeah, this is how these systems actually function.
All right. Well, let's save that.
For part 2.
Yeah, we'll save that for next time.
That's good.
Stay tuned, everybody.
We'll be back.
Okay, so we're back and ready to dig into these consensus mechanisms.
Yeah, this is where the magic happens.
Yeah, I feel like this is...
The engine under the hood.
Yeah, exactly.
gonna-
Makes it all work.
So just to remind everyone, like, what is a consensus mechanism? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, so basically it's the process
Okay.
that allows all the nodes in a decentralized network
Mm-hmm.
to agree on a single version of the truth, right?
Okay.
So the shared ledger, the transaction history,
If you didn't have this, it would just be like,
chaos.
yeah.
Everyone would have their own version of what happened.
Okay, so it's like,
It's how you get everyone on the same page.
yeah, how you get everyone to agree.
Yeah. In a decentralized way, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you think about it.
So what are some of the, I guess, most popular or most common consensus mechanisms out there?
Well, we already talked about proof of work, right?
Right, POW, Bitcoin.
Yeah, the OG.
That's the one with the miners and all that stuff, right?
Exactly. So those miners are competing
Right.
to solve complex mathematical problems.
It's like a giant puzzle.
Yeah.
Basically,
They got to solve it first, and then they
they get to add the next block to the blockchain,
Okay.
and they get rewarded with some Bitcoin.
So it's all about, like, who has the most computing power?
Pretty much, yeah.
The more power you have, the more chances you have to win.
Exactly.
That's better.
And that's what makes it so secure.
Okay.
Because it would take an insane amount of energy
Yeah.
to overpower the entire network.
Right, but that's the whole criticism of Bitcoin, right? That it's so energy intensive.
Yeah, that's a valid concern. That's
Right.
one of the reasons why people are looking at other consensus mechanisms. Like proof of stake, right?
Exactly. How
This one's supposed to be a lot more
energy efficient?
environmentally friendly.
Yeah, for sure.
So how does this one work?
So instead of miners using all that energy, you have validators
Okay.
who stake their cryptocurrency.
Like as collateral.
Exactly. Like they're putting their money where their mouth is,
Okay.
saying, I trust this network. I'm going to vouch for these transactions.
Okay, so how do they choose who gets to be a validator? Is it just like random?
It depends on the specific implementation,
Okay.
but
Okay.
generally it's based on how much crypto they've staked.
Okay, so the more you put up?
Yeah, the more skin in the game you have,
Yeah.
the higher your chances of being chosen.
And what happens if they try to like cheat or do something bad?
Well, they risk losing their stake,
Oh, okay.
a portion of it, or even all of it.
So there's like a real incentive to be good.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a pretty effective system.
So proof of work is like the brute force security guard.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
And proof of stake is like,
More like a system of checks and balances.
yeah, more elegant in a way.
Yeah, and much better for the environment.
Okay, so are those the only two? Or are there other types of consensus mechanisms out there?
Oh, there are a bunch more.
Okay.
One that's pretty popular is delegated proof of stake, or DPoS.
Okay, we talked about Binance Smart Chain. They use that one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like super fast and cheap.
Yeah.
So how does DPoS work? Like what makes it so efficient?
So in DPoS,
Okay.
token holders vote for a limited number of delegates
Okay.
who are responsible for validating transactions and securing the network.
So it's like a representative democracy
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
for blockchains.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
So instead of everyone participating directly,
Mm-hmm.
you elect representatives to do it for you.
Okay, and that's what makes it faster.
Exactly. Yeah, it streamlines the process.
But what about centralization, right? Like, doesn't that put a lot of power in the hands of a few?
That's the trade-off, right?
Yeah.
Some people are concerned about that
Okay.
it could be more vulnerable to manipulation.
Yeah, That makes sense.
It's a debate that's still going on.
Okay, so it seems like every consensus mechanism has its own, like, pros and cons.
Yeah. Trade-offs.
There's no perfect solution.
So what are some of the things that, like, developers think about when they're choosing which one to use?
Well, obviously, security is a big one.
Hmm.
Scalability, how many transactions can it handle?
Right.
Decentralization, how much power is concentrated? Energy consumption?
Yeah. The environmental impact is a big one these days.
Absolutely.
Okay, so proof of work, proof of stake, delegated proof of stake. Are there any other, like, really innovative ones out there that are worth mentioning?
Yeah, there are definitely some cool new ideas emerging.
Okay.
One that I find particularly interesting is proof of history.
Proof of history. What's that?
So this is used by Solana,
Okay.
and it's kind of a unique approach.
Instead of relying on timestamps,
Okay.
which can be manipulated, it creates a verifiable record of the order of events
Okay.
using a cryptographic function.
So it's like a tamper-proof timeline.
Exactly, yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Like a built-in clock for the blockchain
Okay.
that makes it faster and more scalable.
That's really cool. So it seems like there's like a lot of innovation happening in this space.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time.
New ideas are popping up all the time.
It's amazing to see the creativity
Yeah.
and the ingenuity of the blockchain community.
Okay, so we've talked about proof of work, proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, proof of history. And I'm sure there are others.
Oh yeah, there are plenty more.
But it seems like we're only scratching the surface of what's possible.
Absolutely.
And one of the most exciting things I keep hearing about is this idea of sharding.
Sharding. Yeah.
Everyone's talking about sharding.
It's a big deal.
So what is that, and why is everyone so excited about it? Okay, so sharding.
Sharding, yeah.
It sounds like it's going to like revolutionize how blockchains handle all these transactions.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
Especially as like things get more popular.
Yeah, scalability is one of the biggest challenges.
Right, so how does it work? Like, what is sharding?
So imagine like a highway, right?
Okay.
With thousands of cars,
Yeah.
all trying to get to the same place.
Good.
That's what a traditional blockchain is like.
Okay.
One lane.
Okay.
Everything's got to go through it.
Got it.
Sharding is like building multiple lanes,
Okay.
parallel highways,
Okay.
each handling a portion of the traffic.
So you're breaking it up.
Exactly.
Okay.
Instead of one giant blockchain,
Yeah.
you have these smaller chunks
Okay.
called shards.
Shards. Okay.
And each shard can process transactions independently.
So it's way more efficient.
Yeah, it's like dividing and conquering.
Right.
You can handle a lot more traffic that way.
But then how do they all like talk to each other?
Right. That's the tricky part.
Right.
How do you keep everything in sync?
Yeah.
So there are different approaches to that.
Okay.
Some systems use a central coordinator
Okay.
to manage the flow of information between shards.
Okay.
Others use more complex consensus mechanisms.
So it's not like there's one standard way of doing
Yeah,
it.
yet, no.
Okay.
It's still early days for sharding.
Yeah.
A lot of research and development happening.
Okay. And Ethereum 2.0 is doing sharding, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of their upgrade.
How much is that going to change things?
Well, they're hoping to dramatically increase their throughput,
Okay.
potentially handle tens of thousands of transactions per second.
Wow. That's
Yeah, it'd be a huge step forward.
a game changer. Aren't any other blockchains doing sharding?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Zilliqa, Near Protocol, Polkadot.
Okay.
Some are already using it.
Okay.
Others are planning to implement it soon.
So it seems like it's going to be kind of like a key part
Yeah, I think so.
of how these things evolve.
As demand grows, we need solutions like sharding.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot today.
We have...
Layer 1 blockchains, consensus mechanisms,
Right.
scalability, sharding.
It's a lot to take in.
I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
Oh, absolutely.
This is like a whole world.
It's just the beginning
Yeah.
of what blockchain can do.
Pretty exciting.
It's an amazing technology
Yeah.
with so much potential.
So where do people go from here? Like, how do they stay up to date on all this stuff?
Well, just stay curious, keep learning.
Okay.
There are so many resources out there.
Okay.
Blogs, podcasts, online courses,
Yeah.
research papers, you name it.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
Get a crypto wallet.
Okay.
Try out some dApps.
Perhaps, yeah.
Join some communities.
Cool.
That's the best way to learn.
Awesome. Well, I think it's time to wrap things up.
Like,
We've covered a lot of ground today.
yeah, we've done a deep dive.
Layer 1 blockchains to consensus mechanisms.
Sharding, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, hopefully this has given everyone like a good foundation
Yeah, a starting point.
to kind of continue their exploration.
Keep learning.
Yeah.
The future of blockchain is being built right now.
That's pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah.
And anyone can be a part of it.
So to all our listeners out there,
stay curious.
stay engaged and keep on diving deep.
See you next time.